everyone, welcome to How Ines Rolls. Today I am making back to school treats. I know you're probably in summer, or some of you are not even wanting to realize that school's right around the corner, but for us it is. And I have a couple of really great recipes that will help you with lunches and with breakfasts. Let's do this. I love the Pioneer Woman. She has some really awesome recipes, and this one is called the Strawberry Oatmeal Bars. They're a lot like cereal bars, but they're homemade. So I'm just gonna get started going with that. So you're just gonna take a couple of sticks of butter, which I have back here, and you're just gonna cut them into small cubes and get them into a bowl. So I'll bring you closer and let's do this. So I have my cut up butter. I'm also going to be adding some packed brown sugar, and I'm going to slowly get this incorporated, adding the rest of everything. The flour, the oats, the brown, and I got the brown sugar, the powder, the baking powder, and the salt. So I'll be putting a link to this recipe in the description box below. Like I said, it's, from the Pioneer Woman, who we all love. So I'm just going to get this going. You probably could have used a mixer, if you have a KitchenAid stand-up mixer, I would use that, but I'm just going to use my hand mixer today because I don't think it's going to be too hard. So let's do this. The crust and the topping, because you'll be using half and half, so splitting it in parts, it kind of has like this crumbly, blended in. It's kind of one of my favorites because it looks like it's dry, and then you'll pat it down, and because of all that butter, it's gonna make it nice and solid. So we're gonna get this going. I have two 8x8 squares because my 9x13 I'm going to be using for my next recipe. So mental note, I need to buy another one of those. So I'm just going to give it a little spray because it's going, I know there's lots of butter already in the recipe, but this will just coat it a little bit because we're putting jam in it as well. So in the recipe below, or in the description box below, I'm also going to link the recipe for my jam. I make a lot of jam on my own. So I did have some leftover jam from when we went to Collab with the Phillips, so I thought I'd use this up. And anyways, it was reduced sugar, and I'm okay with that. So use whatever you have. Something about 10 to 12 ounces of a jam jar should work perfect for this recipe. So you're just gonna take half of this, the crumble, and I'm going to be quartering that too. So let's see how I can get this going. And then I'm going to just press it down and make a nice little crusty bottom. And then it's the fun part. So I'm just going to use a little bit of mine first on the bottom. I have another one coming from out of the freezer. So you can see I make it in bulk. And when I mean it's coming out of the freezer, I just sent Jonas to go get it. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm just going to use the rest of the other one, the Smucker's one. So, but this one is really good. So just as I link the video below, it's one of my first videos, I think. So just don't mind how awkward I am. I still am a little bit awkward on video, so I apologize for that. All right, and this one was kind of fun because you could just squeeze it. So far, doesn't that look so good? So I did get a little bit more from the freezer, but I thought, oh, you know what? This is probably fine. So I am going to now put the crumble topping on top, and boom, I'll be cooking those for about 30 to 40 minutes and then let them cool and cut them into squares. Guys, it's a lot like just having a cereal bar, and probably more healthy, and I'll explain why. It's probably not that hard to figure out, but let me know in the comments if you've ever heard of Michael Pollan. He is like a food journalist, so to say. He suggests making everything you can yourself, if you can, because when we buy things at the store, this is one of the reasons I kind of don't do this as often, maybe in the summer a little bit more, but during the school year, I will not buy granola bars or cereal bars, because if you can make it yourself, you are not going to put nearly as much sugar as the food companies do. So that's why you should be able to make it yourself. It takes time, process, love that you're gonna do and put into it, and all those chemicals and junk that they add into it, which I swear I can taste preservatives. It's the weirdest thing. So what I'm doing now is just pressing those on top and then getting them into the oven. So, and besides, baked goods are good. Am I right? So while those strawberry oatmeal bars are cooking, I'm gonna get started on one of my favorite and easier things to do, handwritten recipe. I've had it for a long time. People actually say they taste like cookies, but they are granola bars. So years ago, I was researching on Pinterest a recipe that I could use some olive oil, because I had so much of it, and I had this recipe. I made a couple of little tweaks, so it's mine now. So these are chocolate chip granola bars, and I can't wait to show you. So below, also in the description, I will have a link to the video that I've already made before, but that one I know is one of my earlier recipes. So just notice it was one of my earlier ones too. So, and forgive it. All right, so this one is going to use a lot of oatmeal. Oats. I usually buy old-fashioned. I don't do the more processed 1-minute oats. I just like to do regular oats. So if you have steel cut, it might work too for that recipe. So what we're going to do is get 4.5 cups of oats in a bowl. So pretty much we're just putting everything in there and mixing it up. So when I put in the oil, though, I want to make sure the oil gets all around the oats, so that way it can saturate and soften a tiny bit. But this part first, I'm gonna really get those dry ingredients to mix through. I cut the sugar part aspect of it, because like I said, I like to have control of sugar. So it originally called for 1/3 of a cup. I think that might be in the video, but I even do less than that, just 1/4 cup, because there's already gonna be chocolate chips in there and nobody really even notices. So let me get everything in there. Also, there's honey involved, so, right, that's plenty sweet. So let me get everything in here and I'll bring you closer. All right, so I'm going to add the olive oil in and then use this for the honey, so that way it won't stick. So that's a good tip. Okay. So I wanted to show you just the olive oil I've been using this time around. It's extra light tasting, so that's probably your best bet. I've also made this recipe with Costco olive oil if you get it there. But when I've also bought olive oil just from like the store, from Walmart, and I could taste it a little bit more than I wanted to. So you might want to stick with light tasting, so to say. But Costco was good. Costco was very good for this recipe, the Costco olive oil. So I'm gonna heavily spray, because there's gonna be a portion, and I'll show you pretty soon, how I'm just going to pretty much flip it out. And you'll see. But this part is, here, let me move it so you can see it. There you go. It's pretty easy. And I'm just gonna press it down with the spatula as best as I can. And this goes into 325, so a little bit less than the 350, and then just kind of watch it. We probably will let it go for about like 20-25 minutes or so. And we just don't want it to burn, of course. And that's it, you guys. It's so easy. So what I was, after doing my haul, my grocery haul, I may have mentioned, I'll explain in future videos. Well, it's that time of year where, see how I've just made this totally easy? I, every day, will now start making a batch of these. That's why I had so many batches of, or bags of chocolate chip cookie, or chocolate chips. So I'll at least be making 4 batches of this, and I put them in the freezer, and then the kids put them in their lunches. Boom, done. It's like a sweet little cookie too. So let me get this in the oven and then we'll check on those cereal bars. All right, so these just came out of the oven. You can see there's a little bit of golden crust top to it. So we're just gonna let these come to a complete cool. They smell delicious. I can't wait to eat them again. And so also I was able to pull out the granola bars, and I'm gonna show you that right now. So this just came out of the oven. Yum, yum. Before I go on with that, I wanted to say hello to everybody who came to the live. You can see, wearing the same dress. So I hope to see you out at the next live, which will probably be on Saturday. It's one of my fun times with you and getting to know everybody who watch my videos. So this is going to be a little messy, but that's okay. So we'll get this all together and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I've let this kind of rest for like 5 or 10 minutes. Not too much, because you don't want it to start forming yet. I like it to do it this way because I just like the granola bars to be like more condensed. So you can see it's just like, oh darn, look at all of that stuff. It's okay. So what I'm gonna do is just scoop this out and just try to put it as evenly as possible. It smells so good. And then what I'm gonna do is just get a little bowl of water, because if you've been watching me, that's kind of one of my tips. Even with making Rice Krispie treats, I like to just get my hands wet rather than spray them with something. And then, so using the wet hands will keep them cool enough while I work. So I'm gonna go do that. And I'll show you how we're gonna bring these together, and I'll bring you closer. Okay, so now I'm just gonna wet my fingers and then compress it, because when I cut into these bars, I want them to be nice and solid. So it shouldn't be super hot where you just can't take it. So letting them cool down for a tiny bit will help with that. And this is it, you guys. So I'm just pressing them in as much as I can to get like a nice rectangle. And that's it. I'll put them in the fridge. I'll put them in the back fridge or freezer or refrigerator, and get them to cool down, and then we'll chop them into bars. So it's been a while, it's been a few hours, and now they're at room temperature. So I'm just going to cut them, and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with this batch. I'm gonna cut the other ones, put them on a plate, and let the family enjoy. These ones I'm going to wrap up and either put them in the fridge or in the freezer, and then the boys could just get them when they want them. So let's do these ones first. The Strawberry Oatmeal Bars, yum. So I'm just gonna kind of go along the edge, but I can already feel that they have pretty much gelled together, so to say. And then I'm just gonna cut squares. So easy, you guys. And I'm kind of glad I did it in the 8x8, so I highly recommend that. Let me get some saran wrap. And there it is, a homemade cereal bar. Perfect for lunches or for breakfast, a snack. You can see the jam that's in there. Let's see what the boys think. All right, here's a couple pieces of samples. These are Strawberry Oatmeal cereal bars. Is that good? I've made them before, but it's been a while. That good.
That is good.
Now it is time to cut the granola bars. So I just pulled them out of the fridge. They aren't hard, like super hard. They shouldn't be. And now I get to cut them like bars, and they are going to be so good. So in the recipe that I'm probably linking in the video, may say like to put a little bit of flour. Now that's good to bind it, whatever. So I usually omit that part out anyways, or I normally forget. So this can also be gluten-free. So the only thing that's in here is oats, and that's okay for a gluten-free treat. So I'm gonna have Paul taste this. Ta-da, look at that. So cool. I wrap these up, put them in the freezer. The kids put them in their lunches. So I'll probably be making a whole bunch of these in the next week or two. So let's see what Paul thinks. Nice little treat, right? So whether you're just making a snack for the family or if you're wanting to put them in the freezer, these will freeze well. So these are great for back to school lunches or just back to school snacks or dessert. Thanks for stopping by. Like I said, I'll be linking the videos below and the link to the Pioneer Woman's recipe for those strawberry oatmeal bars. They are delicious. So again, thanks for stopping by. I'm so grateful to all of you. Stick around. You just never know what I'll be rolling out next. Bye, everyone. Ooh, better hide them.